Blessings, everyone. My name is Luce, evolutionary and shamanic astrologer, intimacy coach, author, and artist musician. Here to share with you a bit about these super potent eclipses that are beginning today. It's been a wild ride lately, as a lot of us know. I'm just getting back myself from a teaching trip in Chicago, and out there learned about of course, the Boston bombings, and I wrote about this in my new newsletter. Quite an interesting exploration of what's called mundane astrology, which is having to do with cities, things like politics and whatnot, nations. So, if you feel called to study more from astrological or cosmological perspective what's happened with Boston, the foundation chart of the city from 1633 can tell us a lot about what's going on. And I put it into context with the great Uranus-Pluto square that's happening, often a cycle of violence throughout history, sort of the unconscious erupting collectively. And also in terms of the Boston chart, things like their Saturn return, which would be happening right now, and big Saturn presence in the transits to the city chart. So this talk tonight is not about that, but if you are interested, please check out that essay on my website, soulalchemyastrology.com. What I wanted to share with you today, tonight, whenever you're listening to this, is about the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, which begins a month-long eclipse window. Usually, eclipses are 2 weeks apart, a lunar and a solar eclipse, and there's two of them. They are always the most potent karmic portal of the year. So what we mean by that is that we can think of eclipses as evolutionary phase shifts. These are when cycles end and begin. And typically, lunar eclipses are when we are shedding. We're bringing something to fruition, and like a tree fruiting its beautiful fruit, at that point, slowly after, it's going to drop to the ground. And so there's like this ripening of something, and then the shedding of the fruit, shedding of that phase of our life, and then a planting of something new with the solar eclipse. So the solar eclipse is like a super new moon. The lunar eclipse is more like a super full moon. And that's why the lunar eclipses can tend to be very, very powerful emotional experiences. There's a release happening, some sense of letting go, some attachments may come up for us that we've been holding on to, and especially in the sign of Scorpio, which, always shows to us the shadows that we're still playing with in our life. This eclipse particularly shows the shadows in our relationships, but also asks us to really monitor, investigate, probe into what's motivating us psychologically in our partnerships with people. And those partnerships include business relationships, friendships, deep friendships, and also our beloveds or our intimates. The reason that this is being stressed right now is, of course, Scorpio has to do with all of these topics of soul blending, of empowering ourselves through deeper, usually more committed types of partnerships that mutually benefit each other. But in that process, the egos resist, and usually there's some kind of unconscious shadow expression, like a jealousy, a possessiveness, a place that we're psychologically stuck, where the soul is still needing to do some deep work. So fears tend to come up, irritabilities, obsessions and compulsions. And this lunar eclipse may bring all of that up to the surface that we may have suppressed, not wanted to deal with, especially around like our sexual needs, sexual desires, this term sex expectations. What are we expecting in the sexual sphere from partners, beloveds, and where are we still holding on? Now, holding on is really getting emphasized by another aspect to this eclipse, which is that it really triggers Saturn, Juno, and in progression, Venus, the Sun, and Mars, all within a period of a week and a half here around the eclipse that's happening Thursday, the 25th. And it really is a cycle that is emphasizing relationship, because Juno, which is an asteroid of sacred partnership, or the conditions we place on relationship, is directly involved with the position of the sun in this eclipse, the sun and the moon, and also with Saturn. So Saturn always asks us in relationship here with Juno, what are we truly committed to and what are we willing to commit to in relationship? What are our conditions on our sacred relating with a partner? And we all have them. Now, I have an upcoming teleclass on May 1st, Wednesday, May 1st, that's actually going to go really deeply into the archetypes that are going to be triggered by these eclipses. We have 3 in a row, not just 2 this time, which does happen occasionally, but it is more rare. So the next month, we have 3 exact eclipses, and then we also have the exact Uranus-Pluto square for the 3rd time out of 7 total times. Very intense next month of our lives. The month of May is a shot out of a cannon. And so I wanted to offer this this teaching because there is a lot being activated. A lot of us are going to be very triggered by these eclipses, especially where they land in our chart. So this workshop teleclass, 2-hour-long teleclass, will touch in on where these eclipses land in your chart. We'll do a personal chart interpretation for you so you can see where you're going to be most challenged to evolve and transform yourself in at least the next 6 months out. We're also going to talk a lot about Eros and Juno, 2 asteroids you don't hear very much about, but their mythologies are really important in terms of our sexual vitality and also what we're willing to commit to in relationship. In addition, we're going to really look at the nodes and the karmic axis in our chart, since that's what gets really triggered during the eclipses. We'll talk about soulmates, karma mates, twin flames. It's going to be a really powerful journey. Also, erotic empowerment. How can we empower ourselves in our erotic nature at this time of transition, transformation, and real empowerment of all of our multidimensional nature. So I'd love to talk to you guys more about this eclipse, have you on the call, but allow yourself to shed, to release, to surrender into what, to releasing what no longer serves you with this Scorpio eclipse, dancing with the shadows, entering the underworld, and releasing all of that baggage that's not serving us any longer. And we'll come back in a couple weeks for the solar eclipse on May 9th. Many blessings. Hope you stay tuned on soulalchemyastrology.com and Facebook. And if you ever want to do a reading, check out the website, and we'll talk to you soon. May the stars light your way home.